So today we are going to start the lecture of cell biology and molecular biology, which is having the inclusion of different units. Unit number 1 we are going to start today, and the topic for the discussion of this lecture is structure of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. So when we talk about cell cell was first discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. Hooke actually saw dead cell of plant cell of cork under the microscope. But the first man who observed the cell, that is live cell, that is nothing but the Anton von Leeuwenhoek in 1674. So he used different types of cell to observe, like Spirogyra and different organism cell along with the bacterial cell was also observed by Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So it was the first person who started to observe the cell, but the name cell, or we can say the term cell, was coined by Robert Hooke in 1665. Now when we talk about the cell is the structure which is having a different types of organelles inside that, and on the basis of that organelles or complexity of organelles, we can say the cell is of two different types. Now this slide shows you the size of the cell. So different types of sizes was discovered or given over here, like viruses are there, which is having a very small size in nanometer. So here you can see the scale is given that starts from nanometer, then micrometer, then meter, and to kilometer. So likewise we can say that the atoms are very small, and these nanometer size will increase and it will goes rise to or gives rise to the viruses. Then you can say the different types of organelles are there, which is in micrometer. Then after that there is a different types of organisms that we can measure in a meters. So nanometer to kilometer, this is nothing but the size of the different organisms or different types of cells included in a organism. Now there is a two different types of cells. One we called a prokaryotic cell and a eukaryotic cell. So when we talk about these two types of these two types of cells are based on the complexity of organelles inside the cell. So here it is the typical cell structure which is having a different types of organelles. You can see there is a microfilament, centriole, nucleus, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and different types of organelles are there. And depending on this complexity, we can say the cell is either prokaryotic or eukaryotic. Now move to the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell, the word prokaryote comes from the Greek word having the two different words included. The first word pro means primitive or undeveloped. So simply we can say that the cell which is not developed or not very much developed, we called it as a prokaryotic cell. Now pro means primitive or undeveloped, and karyons means the nucleus. So prokaryotic organism is there, and then the eukaryotic organism is there. So prokaryotic is there, then eukaryotic is there. So these two types of cells are present there. Now moving to the eukaryotes, eu and karyotes, these are the two words which is having the meaning in Greek. Eu means good and karyon means nucleus. So eu means good, or we can say a developed one. So prokaryote and eukaryote is having the basic difference, that is primitive or undeveloped, and eukaryote means good or well developed cells. So by looking at these two terms, we can clearly say that prokaryotic cells are those cells which comes earlier, later on they developed, and it gives rise to eukaryotic cell. So just like a cell phones, previously the cell phones are non-Android, and we can say there is a lack of different types of availability of different types of accessories in that. Later on these cell phones will develop, and it gives rise to different types of parameters which makes it handy and useful. So just like that, prokaryotic cells are primitive cells. They developed they are undeveloped, and later on from this prokaryotic cell the eukaryotic cells was produced. Now what is prokaryotic cell? So in a prokaryotic cell there is no any nucleus, or the nucleus is not very much developed. There is a very less amount of organelles, and probably they are single celled. So bacteria is the best example of that, which is having no nucleus. There is a very less amount of organelles, and they have plasma or cell membrane. Nucleoid region is there, and they are very simple and unicellular mostly. Whereas when we talk about eukaryotes, eukaryotic cells are having the nucleus, then they have well developed organelles. They may be having single or multi-celled or multicellular. Then there is having a cell membrane which is well developed. And when we talk about eukaryote, plants, animal, fungi, protists are the best example of eukaryotes.